Imagine for a moment that everything you've ever desired already exists. Not somewhere far away, not in some distant future, but right here, waiting for your awareness to claim it. The problem is not that your dream is unreachable. The problem is that you keep reaching. You keep chasing what's already yours instead of feeling what's already within you. The secret to manifestation has never been about struggle. It has never been about working harder, pushing, or pleading with the universe. It's about becoming one with the feeling of what you want before you see it. Because in truth, nothing appears in your outer world until it first exists in your inner world. The law of life begins and ends within your imagination. Your imagination is not daydreaming, it is creation. Every thought charged with emotion is a seed, and every feeling is the water that causes it to grow. You may think your circumstances dictate how you feel, but it's the other way around. Your feelings dictate your circumstances. The outside world is only a mirror reflecting the vibration of your inner state. So if you wish to change what you see, you must first change what you feel. This is why so many people pray, affirm, and hope, yet nothing happens. They repeat words, but their hearts remain in the same old vibration. They affirm wealth, yet still feel lack. They pray for love, yet feel loneliness. And because feeling is the language of creation, their world continues to echo their emotions back to them. To feel it before you have it is to step into the end of your desire and dwell there, not as a visitor, but as a resident. It means to occupy the state of the wish fulfilled. You see, there is a vast difference between wanting something and feeling that you already possess it. Wanting keeps you in separation. Feeling it keeps you in creation. The moment you feel the reality of your desire, even for a second, you've shifted timelines. You've crossed into a new state of being. Everything you could ever desire already exists in the infinite realm of possibility. Creation is finished. There is nothing new to make, only something new to awaken to. You are not trying to create the thing, you are awakening to the fact that it already exists within you. That's the secret. The feeling is not the result, it's the cause. Let me tell you something deeply powerful. The universe does not respond to your words, it responds to your vibration. It does not hear what you say, it feels what you mean. You can say, I am rich. But if you feel poor, the vibration of lack is what you are broadcasting. You can declare, I am love. But if you feel unworthy, your feeling overrides your words. Your subconscious mind does not understand language. It understands frequency. To feel it before you have it is to make your imagination more real than your senses. To close your eyes and see what your heart longs for until it becomes more vivid, more alive, more believable than the current facts. It means to refuse to be hypnotized by appearances and instead give life to what you choose to experience. You are not trying to escape reality, you are rewriting it. You cannot be both the old version of yourself and the new at the same time. One must die for the other to live. The poor self must die for the wealthy one to rise. The rejected self must die for the loved one to live. The fearful self must die for the confident one to awaken. And the bridge between who you are and who you wish to be is feeling. When you begin to feel the joy of answered prayer before it happens, you are no longer asking, you are receiving. You have already moved into the state of is done. This is why miracles happen to those who no longer beg for them. They have become what they once desired. Think of a child who believes with absolute conviction that their imagination is real. They play with invisible friends, they fly through imaginary skies, and to them, it feels real. That's faith in its purest form. As adults, we've lost that divine ability to believe in the unseen because we've been taught to only trust what we can touch. But creation begins in the unseen, and feeling is the bridge that turns the invisible into form. Do not wait for evidence to give you permission to believe. Feel it first, and the evidence will follow. When you begin to live from the end, not toward it, you send a powerful signal to the universe that says, I already am. And that frequency cannot be denied. Close your eyes tonight before you sleep and imagine what you desire most. See it as if it were already true. Walk through the house you've dreamed of. Feel the warmth of love around you. Hear the laughter, the peace, the freedom. Breathe it in until your heart begins to smile. Don't wonder how it will happen. That's not your concern. Your only task is to feel it real. When you wake in the morning, walk as if it's already done. Speak as if it's already yours. When doubts whisper, but it's not here yet, smile and say, It's already finished in my mind. The outer world will rearrange itself to match your inner conviction. You see, life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you who you are. And you are what you feel yourself to be. Every time you feel abundance, you step into the version of you who already has it. Every time you feel love, you magnetize experiences of love. Every time you feel peace, the chaos begins to dissolve. You can never manifest from a state of waiting. Waiting is lack disguised as patience. Creation happens in the now through awareness of being. If you keep saying, one day, you postpone your miracle. You must claim it now, not tomorrow, not next week, now. Because now is the only moment that exists, and creation only happens in the eternal now. Feeling it before you have it is not pretending, it is faith in action. Pretending is hoping, faith is knowing. Pretending still believes the desire is separate. Faith feels it as one. When you feel from the wish fulfilled, your imagination becomes more powerful than your history, and your future bends to your conviction. The secret is not effort, it's alignment. Stop trying to force things into being. You are not meant to push, you are meant to allow. The more you strive, the more you affirm that you don't yet have it. The moment you rest in the knowing that it's already yours, everything begins to move toward you effortlessly. The law is exact. It responds to who you are being, not what you are doing. You can work day and night, but if you remain in the vibration of lack, you'll never escape it. But if you sit still for one moment, close your eyes, and feel yourself already in possession of what you desire, the entire universe starts moving pieces to make it visible. This is why gratitude is so powerful. Gratitude is the feeling of already having received. When you are thankful before it arrives, you declare that it has arrived in the unseen. Gratitude shifts your focus from wanting to being. It aligns your frequency with the fulfilled version of yourself, and that version begins to magnetize everything you've prayed for. You are not waiting for the miracle. The miracle is waiting for you to feel ready to receive it. You're not waiting for the door to open. The door has always been open. You simply need to step into the vibration that matches the reality you desire. Everything is vibration. Everything is consciousness. And consciousness is the only reality. The world you see outside is nothing more than a projection of what you feel within. Change the feeling, and the image must follow. When you master the art of feeling it before you have it, you become unstoppable. Because then, nothing in the outer world can shake your faith. You know that no matter what happens, the unseen is already working in your favor. You no longer pray out of desperation, but out of confidence. You no longer visualize to escape reality, but to create it. This is the real power, not to manipulate, not to control, but to become. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the door through which every miracle enters. You are not waiting for it, it is waiting for your awareness to let it in. So tonight, when you close your eyes, don't go to sleep as the person who wants. Go to sleep as the person who already has. Feel the joy, the relief, the peace of already living your dream. Sleep in that state, and you will wake in a world that begins to reflect it back to you. Because the secret to having it is feeling it first. And the moment you feel it real, you no longer need to chase anything. Everything begins to find you. Your imagination is the workshop of the divine, the place where unseen realities are born into visibility. Every time you feel something deeply, you are setting creation into motion. It does not matter if what you feel is joy or fear. Both are creative powers. That is why it is so important to guard your feelings. You can think 1,000 thoughts, but only the ones charged with feeling have the power to manifest. The feeling gives the thought life, it makes it real in the invisible realm. When you understand this, you stop living as a victim of circumstance. You stop reacting to what you see and instead begin to direct what you see. Most people are reactors, very few are creators. They let what they see dictate how they feel, never realizing that they are keeping themselves trapped in the same loop. To break the cycle, you must reverse the process. You must decide what you will feel regardless of what you see. That is the mark of mastery. To walk through lack and still feel abundance. To face rejection and still feel love. To stand in uncertainty and still feel secure. You begin to realize that feeling is not a reaction, it is a decision. And once you decide to feel from the end, everything around you begins to rearrange itself. The scene will change to match your conviction. Let's say you desire a new life, more peace, more purpose, more prosperity. The first step is not to figure out how. The first step is to imagine what it would feel like if it were already done. How would you walk? How would you speak? How would you think? How would you treat others? That's the vibration you must occupy now. When you live from that end, you merge with the reality of it. You can never experience what you have not already felt. Every manifestation begins as a felt reality long before it becomes a seen one. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. You are the frequency you dwell in. So instead of chasing the thing, become the state that already has it. When you feel wealth, even if your bank account says otherwise, you begin to act, think, and move differently. You no longer vibrate from lack. You make decisions from abundance. You stop waiting for a miracle and start behaving like one. This inner shift is what causes new doors to open. People, opportunities, and ideas begin to align with your new state of being. It's not magic, it's law. The universe cannot resist a consciousness that knows it already has what it seeks. Feeling it real is the signal that tells creation, this is already mine. The outer world has no choice but to echo that belief. You can't fake a feeling, but you can grow it. Just like a flame, the more you give it attention, the stronger it burns. At first, it may feel unnatural to imagine yourself having what you want because your senses scream otherwise. But persist, keep feeding that inner image with feeling. Eventually, the feeling takes root. It becomes natural, familiar, your new normal. And when it feels normal, it must appear. The moment it feels real, it becomes real in the unseen, and soon after, in the seen. Don't be concerned about the time it takes. Time is only the servant of faith. The longer you stay in the vibration of having, the faster it materializes. The outer world always bends to the inner conviction. This is why worry is so destructive, because it's negative imagination with emotion. Worry is using your creative power in reverse. Every time you dwell in fear, you are rehearsing the very outcome you don't want. You are giving it life through feeling. But when you shift your focus and start imagining the best, you release that same power in the right direction. The law does not judge, it simply reproduces the feeling you sustain. The key is consistency. You cannot feel abundance once and expect the whole world to change overnight. You must live there mentally until it becomes who you are. Your outer world always lags behind your inner world. It's like the shadow that follows your movement. First you move, then the shadow follows. So if your outer circumstances haven't yet changed, don't despair. Keep feeling it real. The change has already begun beneath the surface. When doubt tries to whisper, remember, doubt is just the old self fighting for survival. It wants to keep you in the familiar. But the new self you are birthing has a different vibration, and it requires a different feeling. You can't enter the new state with the emotions of the old one. You must die to that feeling of lack, of waiting, of fear, and resurrect into the feeling of fulfillment. Every fulfilled desire requires a death, the death of the old version of you. You cannot bring yesterday's emotions into tomorrow's creation. You must leave them behind. That's why it sometimes feels uncomfortable, because transformation is not gentle, but the discomfort is a sign that something within you is shifting, aligning, preparing to receive. The world around you will often test your conviction. You'll declare abundance, and then a bill will arrive. You'll affirm love, and someone may reject you. Don't see these as contradictions, they are confirmations. They are opportunities to remain faithful to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even when the facts scream the opposite. When you remain unmoved, you prove your mastery, and the facts will bow to your faith. There will come a moment when you realize that your imagination is the only true reality. The physical world is just a shadow. Everything that exists outside of you was once an idea inside someone's mind. The chair you sit on, the phone in your hand, the clothes you wear, all of it began as imagination. So why should your dream be any different? You hold the same creative power within you. You are the dreamer, and your world is the dream. The dream changes when the dreamer awakens to their power. You are not a victim of fate, you are the author of your destiny. The pen is your feeling. Every emotion you sustain writes a line in the story of your life. When you feel joy before the evidence, you call joy into existence. When you feel love before its return, you magnetize love into your world. When you feel wealth before it's visible, you become a magnet to every form of abundance. You must always begin with the end in mind and heart. You don't need to beg for what's already yours. The divine has already said yes. The only question is, do you feel worthy to receive it? because the feeling of unworthiness blocks the flow. When you finally allow yourself to feel deserving, the floodgates open. You don't earn blessings, you align with them. You match their vibration through feeling. Even when you are surrounded by problems, even when your reality seems to contradict your desire, keep returning to the inner feeling of it already done. Make it your secret dwelling place. Let it comfort you when the world feels uncertain. The longer you dwell there, the more the old reality begins to crumble. Your outer world will always catch up to your inner conviction. It may not happen in the way you expect, but it will happen in the way that serves your highest good. The unseen is more intelligent than your plans. Your only job is to maintain the state, to feel the reality so deeply that the world has no choice but to echo it back. Feeling it before you have it trains you to live beyond appearances. It teaches you to trust the invisible over the visible, the unseen over the seen. And the more you trust that inner knowing, the faster your outer world begins to reflect it. You become calm in the waiting, peaceful in uncertainty, and confident in the unseen because you know the law cannot fail. Everything you are praying for is already completed in the invisible. It's waiting for you to enter the state where it lies. The bridge between that invisible completion and your visible experience is the feeling of having it now. That's why you must return to that feeling every day, no matter what. Even if for just a few moments, feel it real. The power of this practice is not in how long you feel it, but in how real it feels. A single second of true conviction is more powerful than hours of forced effort. Because the moment your inner world shifts, reality begins to bend. The entire universe starts rearranging itself to match your new vibration. When you understand this, you no longer look for signs, you become the sign. You stop waiting for confirmation, your feeling is the confirmation. You realize that every coincidence, every shift, every unexpected blessing is simply your inner state solidifying into form. You start to notice subtle alignments, small moments where the outer world seems to whisper back to you, yes, it's working. A stranger's words echo your vision, a sudden opportunity aligns with your desire, and you realize that the invisible has begun to speak through the visible. You no longer need to chase, you attract effortlessly. You are no longer asking life to change. You are commanding it through your feeling. When you live in this awareness, you begin to treat every emotion as sacred. You stop allowing worry to have free rent in your mind, because you understand that every fearful feeling creates form. You begin to deliberately choose peace over panic, confidence over doubt, faith over fear. You begin to feel your way into every situation, not by analyzing or calculating, but by aligning. You understand that your feelings are your compass. They point you toward your manifestation or away from it. Each day becomes a practice of awareness. You wake up and ask yourself, what am I feeling today? Because that is the vibration you're sending out. And if it doesn't match what you desire, you shift it before the day begins. You sit quietly, breathe deeply, and feel into the end of your desire. You see it done. You feel the gratitude, the satisfaction, the peace. You let that feeling flood your body until it becomes your atmosphere. And then you walk through the day carrying that vibration, no matter what happens outside. Even if you face resistance, even if the facts look unchanged, you remain steady. You understand that the seed must grow in the dark before it breaks the surface. The silence between planting and harvest is not failure, it's formation. The unseen forces are working, but they only obey consistency. The moment you drop the feeling, the energy dissolves. The moment you hold it, it multiplies. The great secret is emotional discipline, to remain faithful to the unseen regardless of appearances. Most people let the outside world dictate their mood, but the wise reverse the process. They feel from the wish fulfilled until the world catches up. They live from the end, and life begins to shape itself around that end. You see, life is a mirror that reflects not your wishes but your state of being. If you want the mirror to smile, you must smile first. If you want love, you must feel love first. If you want success, you must feel successful first. You cannot look into the mirror of life with a frown and expect it to smile back. The reflection always matches the expression. And the moment you understand that, you stop waiting. You stop saying, when I get there, I'll be happy. Because you realize happiness is the path, not the reward. You realize that by feeling happy now, you draw to yourself the circumstances that produce more happiness. You realize that by feeling abundant now, you magnetize wealth. You realize that by feeling love now, You open the door for love to walk in. This is why feeling is more powerful than thought. You can think 100 positive affirmations, but if your heart contradicts them, they have no power. The heart is the magnet. The mind sends the signal, but the heart pulls the reality in. You must unite the two. The thought directs, the feeling attracts. Together, they create. To live this way is to live as a conscious creator. It means you no longer drift in the tide of circumstance. You command the current. You are no longer asking, when will it come? Because you understand it's already here in the unseen. You are only aligning yourself to receive it through feeling. You are shifting from begging to being. Every time you feel it real, you are planting a seed. And every feeling that follows is the watering of that seed. You may not see it growing yet, but beneath the soil of the unseen, roots are forming, strength is building, and soon it will break through. You only need to keep feeling it alive. There is no limit to what you can manifest because there is no limit to consciousness. You are not separate from the source. You are an expression of it. You are the extension of divine imagination in human form. That's why imagination feels so natural. It's your true language. When you imagine and feel, you are speaking directly to creation itself. The universe is not testing you, it's translating you. It is giving back to you what you radiate. So if you ever feel stuck, ask yourself, what am I radiating? You will always find the answer there. And once you shift the inner tone, the outer symphony changes. When you finally understand that everything in life begins as a feeling, you stop trying to fix the outer world and start cultivating the inner one. You begin to realize that your true work is not in the field of effort, but in the field of awareness. You become more intentional with your emotions, more selective with your attention, more faithful to your inner reality. The outer world is like clay. It molds itself around the shape of your feelings. And your feelings are shaped by the pictures you hold in your imagination. So paint the picture clearly, feel it deeply, and refuse to entertain the opposite. If you can persist in that state, the form must appear. It's law. The more you practice feeling it real, the faster it becomes natural. And when it becomes natural, manifestation becomes effortless. You no longer need to visualize for hours or force belief. The state itself carries the power. You simply enter it and live from it. It becomes who you are. Your emotions become your instructions to the universe. When you send out fear, you instruct life to bring you more to fear. When you send out joy, you instruct life to bring you more to rejoice about. You are the conductor of the unseen orchestra, and every feeling is a note that shapes the melody of your life. The key is to master the inner tone, the emotional vibration you carry throughout the day. That tone becomes the silent command that creation obeys. The more harmonious your inner tone, the more harmonious your outer world. When you live in a state of gratitude, joy, and confidence, life begins to dance to that rhythm. There's no need to rush. The moment you feel the reality of your desire, the seed is planted. Time is only the unfolding of what is already done. Stay faithful. Keep the feeling alive. Don't dig up the seed with doubt. Let it grow. The universe is never late, it is precise. Everything you've ever wanted is already yours in consciousness, and feeling is the bridge that brings it home. You must remind yourself daily that reality is not fixed. It is fluid, flexible, responsive to the dominant vibration you hold. You are never stuck, you are only sustaining a feeling too long. The moment you shift the feeling, the reality begins to shift. The bridge of incidents begins to form, unexpected encounters, sudden opportunities, divine coincidences, all aligning to bring you the manifestation of your inner state. Every person, every event, every circumstance you meet is a mirror reflecting your consciousness. You don't need to fight the reflection, you only need to change what it's reflecting. When you do, the reflection naturally changes. That's why your only true work is within. The world changes through the transformation of feeling, not through force. What you feel consistently becomes who you are, and who you are determines what comes to you. The secret is to feel from the place of fulfillment until it becomes your second nature, until it feels impossible to doubt, until your whole being hums with the frequency of is done. And when that becomes your state, the universe begins to move with a quiet urgency to make your feeling visible. The outer world starts bending around your vibration, rearranging events, timing, and people just to match the energy you're holding. You might notice synchronicities multiplying, numbers aligning, doors opening, conversations happening at the perfect moment. That is not coincidence. That is confirmation. It's the reflection of a consciousness that finally knows what it is. You begin to realize that you no longer live by effort, but by ease. You no longer try to make things happen, you allow them. You no longer push, you permit. The moment you surrender to the feeling of it already done, creation flows through you. It's as though life itself begins to cooperate with your conviction. Every step is guided, every delay has purpose, and every challenge becomes a passageway to fulfillment. This is the power of knowing before seeing, feeling before having, believing before proof. It's not delusion, it's divine order. The spiritual world always precedes the physical world. When you feel something so deeply that it becomes your inner truth, the physical must obey. That's how the law works. It cannot contradict its own vibration. And that is where many fail. They want the evidence first, then they'll feel the emotion. But that is not how the creative law operates. You must reverse it. Feel it first, and the evidence will come. The cause is always internal. The effect is always external. You don't change the mirror by changing the reflection, you change it by shifting your expression. When you finally get this, you stop fighting your circumstances. You stop trying to control outcomes. You understand that everything is a mirror of your inner self. You begin to look within and ask, what state am I in right now? What am I feeling that's causing this reflection? And in that moment, you take back your power. You stop being a victim of life and become a master of vibration. Every time you choose the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are rewriting your destiny. You are stepping into a higher dimension of self, the version of you who already lives your dream. That version has always existed. You're not creating it, you're aligning with it. It's like tuning a radio. The station was always broadcasting, but you could only hear it once you tuned to its frequency. The same applies to your desires. They already exist, but you can only experience them when you match their emotional frequency. Feeling is that frequency. When you begin to feel what it's like to already have what you desire, you tune your consciousness to that station. And once tuned, you start to receive everything that matches that signal. People call it coincidence, luck, or fate, but it's none of those. It's resonance. The universe echoing back the signal you've sent. The more you remain in that vibration, the more reality begins to conform. The same world that once resisted you now begins to assist you. What once seemed impossible becomes effortless. The people you need appear, the resources you lacked flow in, and the path that seemed invisible unfolds naturally before you. The law does not fail, it only follows. And even when challenges arise, even when old patterns try to pull you back, you'll know how to stand still inwardly. You'll stop reacting to appearances and instead reaffirm your inner knowing. You'll remind yourself, this is just the shadow of an old state fading away. You'll hold the feeling steady, and soon the old must dissolve. Feeling is your creative signature. No two people can feel exactly the same way about something, which means your vibration is uniquely yours. That's why you must trust your inner feeling above all else. It is your map, your guide, your silent teacher. When something feels expansive, alive, peaceful, that's the direction of your higher self. When something feels heavy, forced, resistant, that's the echo of misalignment. Follow the feeling that sets you free. You will find that as you practice this, your desires begin to lose their tension. You no longer need them to feel complete because you already feel the fullness now. And it's precisely in that moment of emotional completion that the physical manifestation comes rushing in. It's a divine paradox. When you no longer need it, you finally attract it because you become the version of you who already has it. The secret is to keep living from that inner fulfillment. Wake up each morning and remind yourself of who you already are. Walk as though every promise has been kept, as though every prayer has already been answered. Talk with the certainty of one who knows creation is finished. You are not waiting for life to bless you. You are walking in the blessing now. Every thought you feel real is a decree. Every emotion sustained is a command. The universe responds to the authority of your feeling, not the uncertainty of your wanting. So, choose your emotional state with the same care you would choose your words, because that's the real language of creation. And soon you'll realize that everything is working together. The delays, the disappointments, the divine timing, all of it aligning perfectly to mirror the consciousness you've chosen to dwell in. The world bends for the one who feels it already done. So remember this, Your life will never rise higher than your dominant feeling. You can think about success, talk about it, dream about it, but until you feel successful within yourself, the world will withhold its evidence. You can pray for love, hope for peace, and wait for joy, but until you become those things inwardly, they cannot appear outwardly. The universe does not give you what you want, it mirrors what you are. Feeling is creation. Feeling is the prayer that never misses its target. Feeling is the silent force that shapes every experience of your life. So from this moment forward, guard your feelings like treasure. Refuse to live by appearances. Dare to feel it real, to step boldly into the state of the wish fulfilled, and let that feeling become your dwelling place. Because when you feel it before you have it, you collapse the distance between desire and fulfillment. You bridge the unseen and the seen. You awaken to the truth that the power has always been within you. And once you live from that awareness, nothing in the world can be withheld from you. For you have learned the greatest secret of all: to feel it real is to make it real.